97.3 Citi FM, you are welcome to this edition of the Citi Prime News, broadcasting live from our studios here in Accra. This afternoon, Health Ministry constitutes an investigative committee into alleged emergency care denial that killed 29-year-old Charles Emisa. Also in this edition of the Citi Prime News, minority raises objections to proposed security and intelligence agencies bill, arguing excessive concentration of power in national security apparatus.
If you give such powers to the coordinator and you do not provide for a clear path of responsibility, accountability, and oversight, it becomes problematic to you yourself.
Also, in this edition of the Citi Prime News, Foreign Affairs Ministry officially request copies of Latvian investigative report into death of Ghanaian student.
The government of Ghana has demanded that the final investigative report be made available to Nana Eje's family, to which there was no objection from the Latvian side.
And later, cocoa farmers in Sefiwi also hit the streets protesting the reduction in cocoa prices, even as Cocoa Board begins payment of arrears. All that and more coming up in this edition of the Citi Prime News, which is heard in the Western region on Beach 105.5 FM and Sky 93.5 FM, both in Takoradi. In the Bono region, we're live on Green FM 95.9 in Sunyani. In the Ashanti region, we're on Focus 94.3 FM in Kumasi and Orange 107.9 FM also in Kumasi. And in the Volta region, the Citi Prime News is live on Revival 99.3 FM in Tajivu and VOV Radio 95.7 in Hohoi.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
I am Charles Osukumi, grateful to you for your time here on the Citi Prime News. Remember, the news is also live around the world on citinewsroom.com. Let's begin the bulletin. For nearly 3 hours last Friday, February 6, 2026, a victim of a hit-and-run accident at the Kwame Nkrumah Circle overpass here in Accra was reportedly denied emergency treatment by 3 major hospitals in the city, each citing the unavailability of vacant beds until he ultimately died. The Minister for Health, Kwabena Minta-Kandom, has initiated investigations into the circumstances leading to the death of the 29-year-old Charles Emisa. The following Citi News Desk report traces the chronology of events.
On Friday, 6th February, a 29-year-old Charles Emisa died following a hit-and-run crash at the Circle overpass in Accra after reportedly being turned away by 3 major hospitals due to the unavailability of bed space. The victim was an engineer at Pomisado Ghana Limited. At 10:32 p.m., the ambulance service received a walk-in alert about the incident. According to the service, the crew mobilized a minute later and arrived at the scene 3 minutes later, where Emisa was found lying supine on the road with profuse bleeding. At 10:40 p.m., the ambulance departed for Police Hospital, arriving 3 minutes later. The facility reportedly declined to admit Emisa, citing no available beds. Even the offer to use the ambulance trolley was reportedly rejected. The crew then transported the patient to Ridge General Hospital, arriving at 10:58 p.m., where he was again refused admission. At 11:20 p.m., the ambulance reached Kolebu Teaching Hospital. Staff there allegedly instructed the crew to continue to the University of Ghana Medical Center. While still at Kolebu, Emisa's condition deteriorated and he went into cardiac arrest. CPR was administered immediately but was unsuccessful. A doctor on duty later certified him dead and instructed the ambulance crew to convey the body to the mortuary. The EMS team transported the body at 12:50 a.m., handing it over to the appropriate authorities at 12:53 a.m. The Deputy Director of the Ambulance Service, Simon Yusuf Kibra, confirmed the sequence of events to Citi News. He also lamented the negative impact of the no-bed syndrome on their work. He further called on health authorities to find lasting solutions to the challenge.
So everything brought down to the no-death syndrome. So it's something that we are facing. But this particular issue is an emergency case that happened at a spot, and we need immediate attention. We don't provide holistic medical care. First is to provide free hospital. So ensure that the person gets to a facility for further treatment. So if we get them, there's no bed. In fact, it makes our work very less. So we always appeal, we want the government to at least a percentage of at the emergency ward.
There are also reports that some of these hospitals deliberately refuse to accept the person due to the condition of the person and not necessarily because they aren't bed. Has that come to the attention of the ambulance service as well?
That's one, I cannot establish that. And then because of all this, that is why the minister has established and has formed a committee to look into this matter.
Well, that report was filed by my colleague Jude Duncan and read by Eno Safo. Well, the Ministry of Health has set up a 3-member committee to investigate that incident, which is the death of the 29-year-old engineer Charles Emisa. He passed away, like I said earlier, on Friday, 6 February, after allegedly being denied medical care by 3 major hospitals in Accra. The committee, which is expected to submit its report by March 5, will probe the alleged denial of emergency care and review the events and systemic gaps that led to his unfortunate death. The committee is chaired by renowned pathologist Professor Jimambedu Akosa. Other members include Dr. Henry Kwesibule of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital and technical advisor to the Health Ministry, Dr. Koku Awuno Williams. Well, still on health, the Health Facilities Regulatory Agency, HEFRA, says it will strengthen security compliance in hospitals following the Mamprobi baby theft incident. The baby was allegedly taken from the Mamprobi Polyclinic on Tuesday, February 18, which was yesterday, by one Latifa Salifu. The baby was later rescued and reunited with the mother and the suspect arrested. The Chief Executive Officer of HEFRA, Dr. Winifred Quality Ba, says although security standards have been outlined for various health facilities, full compliance has not been achieved.
I must say that we haven't been very strict on it. From now, we are going to be very strict, and I think the minister brought out another circular saying that all health facilities must have CCTV. So going forward, as an agency, we are going to enforce. Apart from that, we also said that they must have security guards at the entry and exit point to make sure that the security of patients and even staff is guaranteed. And that we are also going to enforce that. Going forward, we also sent a circular some time ago that everybody who is on duty in the hospital must have a name tag. For nurses, doctors, and you need to wear the appropriate apparel. So those ones too, we are going to enforce them. We think that these are a few of the things we can do to forestall some of this. So nobody can come in and impersonate, and then nobody can come and pick somebody's baby without anybody recognizing it. It's not right, and it must not happen again.
That was the Chief Executive Officer of the Health Facilities Regulatory Agency, Dr. Winfred Quality Ba. Now, the Kaswa Sub-District Health Directorate is facing a severe shortage of community health workers. The area, which comprises communities such as Newtown, Walantu, Odupong-Pehe and Zongo, with a combined population estimated at over 54,000, has primary health care facilities at just 3. While there is a shortage of general nurses, only 3 community health nurses have been assigned to the area. Speaking to Citi News, the medical superintendent of the Kaswa Polyclinic, Dr. Awu Johnson, appealed to authorities to post additional staff to the area.
A catchment area is a peri-urban setting which is fast growing, but the numbers of healthcare workers assigned there is not commensurate, especially when it comes to our community health workers. So for Newtown area, Walantu, Zongo, Iron City, the staff numbers are very few. So a designated area like Newtown has just 3 community health nurses taking care of the entire area. And I believe that they would really benefit from additional hands being set their way. So we are pleading that if we could get more of CHNs, more of our nurses being recruited, coming on board, it will help ease the burden on the few that have been left at post.
You heard the voice of the medical superintendent of the Kaswa Polyclinic, Dr. Awu Johnson. Well, away from health, the government is set to rename the National Investigations Bureau, NIB, to the Bureau of National Intelligence, BNI, as part of reforms under the Security and Intelligence Agencies Bill 2025. The Minister for the Interior, Mohammed Mubarak Muntaka, says the decision is aimed at addressing concerns over the continued use of the acronym NIB, which often creates confusion with the National Investment Bank. Speaking on the floor of Parliament, the Minister explained that the renaming forms part of broader efforts to streamline the country's security architecture.
Everywhere in the world, you make sure that the acronyms for the security agencies do not match any other thing. And in fact, it is supported by law to make sure that nobody is able to name anything after an acronym of any of the security agencies. Unfortunately, we have a situation where when you say NIB, people are wondering whether you're talking about the bank or you're talking about the security agency. So, Mr. Speaker, one of the significant things that we are trying to do is to reintroduce the name BNI. But this time, even though the BNI of yesterday was Bureau of National Investigation, this BNI will still remain Bureau of National Intelligence.
Mohammed Mubarak Muntaka further explained that the Security and Intelligence Agencies Bill 2025 proposes the abolition of the specific position of Minister for National Security. He notes that once the bill is passed by Parliament, it will instead grant the President the authority to designate a minister to exercise oversight responsibility over the National Security Coordinator.
A detailed ministerial role and the function of the National Security Coordinator, because he's supposed to coordinate all the activities within the space. And if you assign or leave a ministry called Ministry of National Security, that largely is supposed to play an oversight. And if you are not careful, they begin to conflict and they begin to have misunderstanding. And that affects the security architecture that we have in the country. So one of the things that we are trying to do is to keep this position as more or less of that of the president, and then he gets one of his ministers to play that oversight without the necessarily fine detailed designation of a minister for national security, so that as much as possible you try to avoid the conflict between the minister and the national security coordinator.
You have the Minister for the Interior, Mohammed Mubarak Muntaka. Meanwhile, the minority leader, Alexander Fenyamakin, has strongly opposed the proposed legislation. He describes the Security and Intelligence Agencies Bill 2025 as a matter of significant political concern, arguing that it could concentrate excessive power within the national security apparatus.
The memorandum before us does not provide any empirical evidence to suggest that Act 1030 has failed. It appears that this bill is more founded on partisan political interest than a national security interest for good governance. What is being proposed? So much power is being given to the coordinator. It is not clear how his powers are going to be fettered. Mr. Speaker, my submission is that if you give such powers to the coordinator and you do not provide for a clear path of responsibility, accountability, and oversight, it becomes problematic to you yourself as a government. And when the rights of citizens are being abused, the man will come and tell you that in the name of national security, there will be the need for the minister to sit with us as a house, do further winnowing, and incorporate the major concerns raised by the minority on this floor.
You heard the minority leader in Parliament, Osahin Alexander Apenyomakin. This is still the City Prime News on 97.3 City FM, broadcasting from our studios here in Accra. In the northern region, the City Prime News is live on Radio Bimbila 91.9 FM. In the Upper East region, we're on Quality 88.7 FM in Garu, on Mike 105.3 FM in Avrongo. In the Upper West region, we're on Tunsong 97.3 FM in Wa and Jirapa 96.1 FM. Still ahead in the bulletin, cocoa farmers in Sefi also hit the streets protesting the reduction in cocoa prices, even as Cocoa Board begins payment of arrears. We have details of that and others coming up shortly. Please stay with us.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
We are gearing up for the trip of a lifetime. Heritage Caravan 2026. From 1st to 8th March 2026, 8 days, 14 regions, 1 legendary caravan. We're touring Ghana in the most spectacular way on the Heritage Caravan, exploring the beauty, history, and stories that make our nation unique. Rolling out from Greater Accra through Eastern and OT, up north to the Northern and Upper East, and all the way to the Western region, hitting iconic destinations across Ghana. The Heritage Caravan 2026 will be fun, educative, refreshing, and most of all, remarkable. Stay connected. Follow Channel 1 TV and 97.3 Citi FM across all social media platforms for updates and join the conversation using the hashtag Heritage Caravan 2026. The Heritage Caravan 2026 is powered by Channel 1 TV with support from Citi FM.
And it's proudly sponsored by Hollard Insurance, Piva Beverages, Omni Basic Bank, Caveman Watches, Gino, Didi Shito, Goyle, Mini-Me Achumo, and Admi Granite Paste. And it's supported by Nanes Rice.
Heritage Caravan 2026, experience Ghana like never before. Are you ready to revolutionize the future of agriculture? The Ministry of Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, in partnership with the Ghana Exim Bank, proudly presents the Ghana Agrotech Fair 2026. The fair will feature exhibitions, market linkages, masterclasses, and workshops on climate-smart farming, digital tools, and export development. Join us at the Black Star Square from March 17 to March 19 at 9 a.m. each day. The President of the Republic, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, will be assisted by the Minister for Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, the Honorable Elizabeth Ofosuejari, and the Chief Executive of the Ghana Exim Bank, Honorable Sylvester Adina Mensah, to open the fair. Government agencies, agrotech firms, startups, farmers, financial institutions, and the general public are all welcome. To exhibit or for inquiries, call 0559 679326 or 0242 585419. Media partners: Daily Graphic, Media General, Radio Gold, Citi FM, and Channel 1 TV. Ghana Agrotech Fair 2026, transforming agribusiness through local innovation and technology.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
You're welcome back. This is the Citi Prime News on 97.3 Citi FM with me, Charles Osukumi. Let's now head to the Western North region, where some cocoa farmers in Sefi Rioso have been protesting the government's reduction in cocoa prices. According to the farmers, the move will worsen their living conditions, citing the high cost of farm inputs. Some of the aggrieved farmers who spoke to Citi News say a reduction in prices is not what President Mahama-led government promised them.
We are deeply disappointed. Under Nanado's government, the price was increased to 3,100 cedis, and it was said not to be enough. Now it has been reduced. Why should that happen? We are appealing to the government to reverse the price reduction because we are struggling to survive.
I am responsible for a child in school, and cocoa is my only source of income. My child is in university and the fees are 5,000 cedis. With a reduction in cocoa prices, I don't know where I'm supposed to get the money to pay. Even feeding the family has become very difficult.
You heard some cocoa farmers in Sefiwi also lamenting the impact of the government's decision to reduce cocoa prices. Away from that, President John Dramani Mahama has signed the 24-Hour Economy Authority Bill into law. The bill was approved after days of debate on the floor of Parliament following its presentation to the House at the end of 2025. The new law provides for the establishment of a 24-Hour Economy Authority to serve as the central coordinating body for the nationwide rollout of the policy. The President says the signing of the bill marks a shift from strategy to implementation with a focus on job creation.
It was one of our flagship strategies for economic transformation. It's taking a while, but we needed to go patiently through the process to give legal effect to it. And so from now, we must move from strategy to implementation. The business sector is waiting, Ghanaian investors are waiting, foreign investors are waiting. They want to see the package of incentives that we afford them so that they can invest more and expand productivity and also create more employment for our young people. And so it's my pleasure to assent to this bill today. Thank you. And let me congratulate the team that has been working on it. Our comrade Guzitando and his team. We're very grateful.
President of the Republic, John Dramani Mahama. Well, let's stay with the government. It says it has formally demanded that the final investigative report into the death of a Ghanaian student in Latvia be made available to his family. In a statement issued today, the Ministry for Foreign Affairs said the request was made during a high-level engagement with authorities in Latvia, where the Ghanaian student Nana Ejay Asia died under unusual circumstances. According to the ministry, the reports must be made available to his family as part of efforts to ensure transparency and accountability in the case. Here are excerpts from that statement read by my colleague Samuel Akom.
Further to its press release of 2nd February 2026, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs wishes to inform that as part of ongoing effort to seek justice for the late Nana Ejay Asia, the Ghanaian student who lost his life under unusual circumstances while studying in the Republic of Latvia, a delegation led by the Foreign Minister traveled to Latvia to engage Latvian authorities on the matter. Deliberations were held with the following Latvian authorities: Foreign Minister, Minister for Interior, Police Chiefs, State Prosecutors and investigators on the matter. The Latvians indicated that investigations were underway and active, noting that due to the high interest of the government of Ghana, the investigations are now directly supervised by the Latvian Interior Ministry, with fresh investigators appointed to ensure credible outcomes. The government of Ghana has demanded that the final investigative report be made available to Nana Ejay's family, to which there was no objection from the Latvian side.
Well, you heard excerpts of a statement from the Foreign Affairs Ministry providing an update on the death of a Ghanaian student, Nana Ejay Asia, in Latvia. Well, the Gamanche, King Teko True II, has reportedly escaped unhurt after being involved in a road accident in Oti region. The crash occurred earlier this morning while the king was returning to Accra from Tamale, where he had paid a private visit to the Yana in the northern region. The visit formed part of efforts by traditional authorities to strengthen unity and deepen mutual respect. Sources close to the palace say the Gamanche is in a stable condition and in good spirits. However, his driver sustained critical injuries and was rushed to the hospital for treatment. We wish the Gamanche speedy recovery. Let's now head to the Ashanti region, where our Middle Belt Bureau Chief is reporting that the GTEC has closed down Royal Nursing School in Kumasi, and we're told that over 800 students have been affected. He has now joined us via telephone to provide us with more updates. Good afternoon to you, Hafiz. What are the reasons GTEC has given for closing down the school?
Well, so GTEC is saying that before you run a nursing training school, you have to have or you need to get an accreditation from the Nursing and Midwifery Council and other allied institutions before you can put up any school to run a nursing program, of which this institution, the Royal Nursing Training College, located at Tapon Shaeto, has refused to do. The DTEC also mentioned that it told the management or the director of the school to stop admissions from June 2024, but he did not heed to that call and that warning from DTEC. So today, they came here. They say this is not the first time they have come here to engage him. Initially, according to GTEC, the school says it was affiliated to the University of Cape Coast, and they have done their checks. The school is not affiliated to the University of Cape Coast, and also the school doesn't have any record of accreditation from the Nursing and Midwifery Council and other allied institutions that are supposed to regulate the establishment of a nursing school in Ghana. So GTEC came here, they did their own investigation, they spoke to the students, asked them some few questions, and so astonishingly, the GTEC people say that the school's management also admitted students in January just this year. Meanwhile, admissions were supposed to close since last year in December, and he has gone ahead to do fresh admissions. So what GTEC is saying is that all the students, over 800 of them, the first and second and third years, are supposed to go home. They'll work out with other institutions to transfer them so they can go and continue with their education there. But the final year students, the DTEC says, is going to make some arrangements with the school so that they can continue and complete, because they are just at the edge of completion, and then the GTEC would want to facilitate that. So right now, students are crying. They just moved out, they packed their bags and going home to different destinations, and they are so stranded. Others coming from far as Boko in the Upper East region. I just spoke to one gentleman, and he is so soaked in tears. His eyes, they're just crying and uncontrollably.
All right, I'm grateful to you, Hafiz. Hafiz Tijani is Middle Belt Bureau Chief, reporting from Kumasi that the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission has closed down Royal Nursing School in Kumasi, and over 800 students are currently affected. They closed down the school because of accreditation issues. Let's head to the Eastern region. The Regional Police Command is investigating the alleged murder of a 16-year-old girl at Tinkong, a community in the Kwapim North municipality. She reportedly went missing on Saturday, February 14, after leaving home on an errand. After days of searching by family and community members, her lifeless body was found in a swamp in the community yesterday. Volunteers who took part in the search say a deep cut was found at the back of her head. Samuel Aboche is the assembly member for the Tinkong electoral area.
Body in the Nukulini, ye no na on Saturday, panty kura we sebi. Ade dan inside band ma band I saw me there henya yebi. And a dancer, and a Mrs. on Sashi naked.
We found her naked. She only wore a bracelet and waist beads. There was also a wound on her head which looked like she had been struck with a stone. Later, I was told that at the mortuary they found okra in her private part.
Papa ja forgetting kumani nyi funu no fi ade nim ntimi de na minim say bibi se ba chira ansa na me beti so amse mo chiro de manwura hobi achira beti se mo chiro no omohwe na jama nkuruma san e sha akora na se ba me de manfumani hu bi ese yi no to man nyina hokola.
You heard Samuel Abochi. He is the assembly member for Tinkong electoral area in the Kwapim North municipality of the Eastern region. This is still the City Prime News on 97.3 City FM, broadcasting from studios here in Accra. Now, brother of King Charles, Andrew Moberton Winsome, has been arrested on suspicion of misconduct in public office. Police say searches are underway at properties in Berkshire and Norfolk, including the Royal Lodge in Windsor Great Park. Charles III said He learned of the arrest with deep concern and that the law must take its course. Andrew has previously denied wrongdoing linked to the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. That'll be all for this edition of the Citi Prime News, which has been live from our studios here in Accra. For more news, log on to our website, citinewsroom.com. I am Charles Osukomi. Thank you for listening.
Citi News. We speak first. Reach our hotline on 0302 224959 and get interactive on Facebook, Citi 97.3 FM, and on Twitter at Citi 973.